Los Angeles, California. It's Landed Late Night. Tonight's guest, Caroline Beckman. And now, your host, Haley Ringo.
Welcome, you guys. Tonight we have an amazing businesswoman and entrepreneur who recently founded Nouri Life, which focuses on proactive health versus reactive health. She also writes for Forbes. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Caroline Beckman! Yay! Woo! Hey, Mama, you looking fabulous.
So excited to be here. Thank you so much.
I'm excited for you to be here, Mama. We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, this is
guys,
so fun.
She is like literally killing it in the world. You're 24 years old, and I don't know. I mean, she's already like founded 2 companies. Now you have a whole new one that you've started, Nouri Life, which launches in March.
Yep.
Which is insane.
Yeah. So fun.
You've done massive fundraisers for companies.
Yeah.
So you're part of the Peter Thiel Fellowship.
Yeah.
Like you just making waves.
It's fun.
Forbes 30 Under 30 Summit. Like
it's been a fun run. We got a long way to go, but it's definitely been fun. I love learning, and I've learned a lot.
24, you have a lot of time to make it happen.
I do. It's an endurance game.
It is an
pace.
Yes. It's the long. It is. It's like you gotta, which is hard. I think when I start something, I'm like, I want immediate, satisfaction and results, and that's just not. You gotta be in it for the long run. You gotta be in it for the long haul.
Landed late night, landed morning, landed afternoon,
landed 24/7,
landed snack break, the whole thing.
It never ends. You know, you just see me on your TV every day. You're like, she's here again. I can't escape her. You recently just started Nouri Life, which, like I said in the intro, focuses on proactive health versus reactive. Yeah. But before we get into all of that juice and all that good, you did not take. There's so many. I feel like as a society we have such a standard or kind of like a cultural norm of what success looks like and the path to success. And you definitely did the opposite. Yeah. But you've proven to be so successful. And so, dropping out of school and just like going in feet first in the deep end, like what did that look like and what was that journey like for you?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I've kind of had to like unpack it as I've grown up, and you don't really understand things until you kind of like peel back all the layers. But one of the things that's really helped me understand my career has actually been backing all the way up to how I was raised educationally. So my parents made a kind of like really different decision at the time to homeschool all of us. Okay. So I'm the youngest of 3.
I was about to ask how many are there?
Yeah, so I've got, there's 18.
There's 20 kids in the family.
Just kidding. That's too real. My oldest brother is 29, my sister's 27, and I'm just about to turn 25. Okay. So we're all pretty close in age, and my mom didn't love the schools in our neighborhood and in our district, so she decided we're going to actually homeschool the kids, and we're going to have different tutors for every single subject. So it was super unconventional, but it was also incredible because starting at 3 years old, I was a self-starter. Yeah. So you don't like go into a school and sit down at your desk and have, someone tell you what to do. You're literally waking up every day and you're self-starting with your schoolwork, with your books, et cetera, et cetera. So I didn't even realize any of that until I was about 18, 19 and started to work on the first company, and I didn't understand why other people in the company weren't just doing things.
You're like, I don't understand. Why are you doing your
they just had to be told what to do. And so I think a lot of the risk taking, it just stemmed from like how I learned how to learn, if you will. And then also like I have an incredible family, like incredible cousins, incredible siblings, incredible parents who just literally, it's like there is no, there's definitely messing up, but there's no failure. Like they really are. It doesn't matter kind of what Caroline does, it matters who Caroline is. And so that, I think that's just like the ultimate safety net emotionally, that I was really, really like comfortable, to be honest, taking risks and doing things like dropping out of school or starting a company, having companies work really well, having companies really not work. Yeah. Keep going, like the whole thing has been a part of the journey. So it's really fun. But I would say it all streams back to like that early childhood development. Yeah. Which is cool.
Well, and I know like, you originally worked for Suja Juice, right? And that was a massive, it still is a massive company.
Yeah, it's huge.
And,
it's huge.
And now you were there from the beginning, correct?
Yeah.
which is amazing.
So I met Eric, who is one of the co-founders. He was on a skateboard delivering juice in like this glass bottle to someone's house.
Oh, I thought you said to your house, and you were like, yo, man.
No, I couldn't afford it at the time. It was $11 a bottle.
Okay.
So I definitely couldn't afford it, and I traded him for juice. So I would work and make the juice, and then I would take like $300 of juice back to someone's house who I didn't pay to live in. It was a real hustle.
Hey,
it was awesome.
The side hustle was so real.
But it ended up we ended up launching it and putting it into Whole Foods, and then kind of a snowball effect from there.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. But it was all the confidence and more that I needed to know that these things are totally possible.
Right, absolutely.
Which was cool.
So you started Nouri Life as well.
Nouri.
After Suja.
Yep.
And then what I know, like reading through your biography on Nouri Life, there was at some point in your journey, it took a toll on your mental health.
Yeah.
And you were like,
your
adrenal glands were failing, and you're like, I'm done. Like I can't do this
We took a turn for the worse. Yeah. So I mean, I really it's a good thing and a bad thing, but I'm really intense and like I go hard because I love my work. And so one of the things that is bad about that has been since I was 18. I actually just looked at the kind of travel numbers the other day, and I spent an average of 210 nights on the road alone when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, which is just not healthy. It's just, there's nothing healthy about it. And so part of that was kind of after Suja, Nava kind of spun out. It was kind of like a spin out from Suja. We really developed it in-house at Suja and kind of with the same team, et cetera, a lot of the same investors. And so we just rolled right into it. So it kind of went from intense to intense. And the buyers and the customers, we were the youngest company to launch at Target. We launched into Kroger, which is Ralph's here, Whole Foods, Sprouts. I mean, the customers and our buyers loved the product.
Right.
But it was just one of those things where it was like, it was going to take a lot more money to develop it. And also our team was kind of like going a few different ways.
Yeah.
So it was a hard decision, but it was either like, hey, we make the decision to close this and let people kind of develop in their own ways and move forward with their careers, or we sort of still fight this out, and we knew that we had a lot of work to do. So it was a really tough turning point, but a really good turning point. And that was, I will genuinely say, the best learning experience. But in all of that, my adrenals failed. Yeah, I mean, it was the craziest thing to be kind of 21, 22, and not really know why the heck I didn't feel well. Yeah. And so, and also my energy is pretty high, and I can go pretty hard, and so when you're not able to do that, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't Caroline. So, so in the biggest kind of aha for me was that when you're in that moment, too, I kind of started to feel like, wow, I'm really anxious, and I've never felt anxiety before, and I'm really depressed, and I've never felt depression before. But then when you realize that it's actually all nutritionally based, there's a lot, not all, but a lot nutritionally based, I was kind of like, wow, this is very powerful, and this is kind of where I want to park and kind of plant a lot of my personal kind of R&D and my personal sort of development moving forward. So it was cool. And that's kind of, I think, your journey, similar, hearing about your journey and kind of the different turns that it takes and how you learn, like, through ups, downs, etc., that this is, the call in my life, and this is what I want to step into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you think that experience and kind of going through realizing like, whoa, I need to take a step back, whoa, mental health and nutrition is super important. Yeah. Is that what gave you the idea for Nouri Life? Yeah, I think culturally right now, when I look from left to right, like I really think that we're doing an awesome job, in faith communities, in culture, in pop culture even, talking about mental health, and we're doing a great job sort of normalizing it. My fear is that we'll sort of bring it out to the surface, but no one will know what to do with it. Yeah. And so I really wanted to take it one step further and say, okay, as these things start to surface, how do we actually practically give someone a solution? Right? Because you can hear all the great things and people can encourage you and like, it's okay to be anxious. Well, it's not, we shouldn't want to be anxious, and like just taking prescriptions doesn't always do the trick. And so my whole approach on it is like, why don't we take a proactive approach to these things? Because they are coming to the surface, and the time's a great time to say, yeah, actually, this is going to get technical, your neurotransmitters, but like dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, those all originate in your gut. So if you don't have a healthy gut, you're not going to sleep, you're going to be anxious. If you're not sleeping and you're anxious, you're probably going to be depressed. Yeah. And it's this trickle effect. So that's where I was like, wow, that's where I need to focus. And so this, with the pill that you have coming out now, that has different probiotics in it and omega-3s, how did you figure out like what probiotics need to go into that. Omega, like what probiotics trigger,
Got weird. Yeah, okay, so, it's interesting. There's a lot of different probiotics right now and a lot of different bacteria, and your bacteria is different than mine, it's different than everyone else's. Right. So it's a very individual thing.
And can ours change? Like, the microbiome can change really quickly,
Absolutely.
too. Yeah.
And that's kind of our goal with this. Like, one of our products that we encourage people to start with is called a gut reset. And it's saying, let's take 90 days to let the good bacteria overtake the bad bacteria. Okay. So the way that we structured our first product, and this is kind of the first of many, our sort of innovation pipeline and cycle is done through 2021. Okay. So this first product's meant to be like a daily, you could take it, your dad could take it, your grandma could take it, right? So it's generation agnostic, age agnostic, and gender agnostic. So we chose 5 strains.
What a term.
Agnostic.
Yeah. Gender agnostic, age agnostic. I love that.
Generation agnostic. I threw that in. Usually don't use that one. Here we go. But it's meant to be a blend of bacteria that you can use very, very, very flexibly. Okay. So that means that we chose bacteria that are studied we started with 5 strains, and they're studied to increase and nurture really the health of your neurotransmitters that are in your gut. So sort of a holistic 5 very well-known diverse strains. Okay. And the biggest thing with probiotics is that you want diversity, because everyone's gut is different. So you want diversity, and then you want a strong enough dose. The coolest thing about Nouri is how we put it together in this capsule. Okay. So the capsule, when you see a visual of it, it looks cool. It looks different. It's kind of like gimmicky almost. Yeah. But it has a really, really important function. And with bacteria and probiotics, we want them to reach our gut. So like when you drink kombucha, it's great, but a lot of the bacteria in the kombucha doesn't actually make it all the way to your gut.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So what we did was we took this capsule, and the probiotic floats in a plant-based omega. So it's cool because we're reducing the pressure that we put on fish oil. So a lot of people, a lot of adults, a lot of like 50s plus take fish oil like religiously. But we are using a plant-based source. So that's really, really cool. Yeah. And then also it protects the bacteria until it reaches your gut. So it almost looks like a little like rocket. And
I saw it.
Dual release capsule. Yeah. So it's really cool. It's like very, very innovative in biotechnology. And to be honest with you, the crazy creative Caroline story is that we had the probiotic developed, and I just was really struggling with how to deliver it, because it just kind of like, you can brand things really cool, but it just kind of like looked like everyone else's, and I was having a hard time separating it on the market, and just like kind of like frustrated, creatively frustrated at the beginning of this year. And then I really started like praying of like, what does our culture need? And like one of the biggest things for me that came out with Nouri is like the tagline's increasing life, and it talks about like increasing the life that's inside of you. And this bacteria is the good bacteria in the life that's inside of you, and it's living. And so one of the things that I was thinking is like, we need to talk about culturally how to protect the life that's inside of us, the mental health, the physical health, etc. And I was like, I wonder if I could portray that in the product. And that's exactly what the capsule does. It protects the life that's inside of it. And so
that's cool.
Yeah, so when you look at it, like when I look at it, I get inspired, because I'm like, dang, I don't know how this whole thing happened, but that was
like a metaphor of a product. It's just, it's the heart behind it, and then it goes throughout the entire, company and the whole idea.
Visually and creatively, etc. So it's like meaningful to me. That would go way over a consumer's head. But when I have the extra minutes to explain the story, that usually comes out in it. So it's exciting. But yeah, it's this combination of gut health and brain health is fascinating to me. We're just like scratching the surface at research, so it's got a long way to go. But what most people don't know is that your gut and your brain are the 2 most closely related organs in the human body.
I knew that.
You did?
Yes.
There you go.
So in talking about kind of like habits, and I know that your habits are you wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m. every day, right?
Some are better than others. Some habits are better than others.
Yes. But most successful people have different habits. They don't look like everybody else's. And so what does your daily life look like, and what are some habits you think are really crucial to your success?
Yeah, I learned I'm a competitive person and an impatient person. So, I mean, my biggest weakness in life is just I'm so impatient. And so that's gotten me into like worlds of hurt. But there's some good in that too, and I'm trying to lean into the good and develop the good in it. One of the things that I learned quickly was that it's a competitive world out there, and you can say a lot, but you've got to rid yourself of distractions so that you can actually do a lot.
Right.
And so one of the kind of daily habits, and just sort of like now it's like a must for me, has been my time in the morning. Like I absolutely, it's the most distraction free, productive, just I call it deep work time that there is. And so I get up really early. I mean, almost every day I'm up by 4:30.
What time do you go to bed?
Depends. Like usually 10:30, 11. Like, I mean, I have been going to bed earlier during the week. Okay. So I've just like now like all my dinners, I'm like, can we go at 6?
Yeah.
Like I'm like not. If someone says 9 o'clock dinner, I'm like,
You're like, I'm already asleep by then.
It's
so
got to be like a really special person for a 9 p.m. dinner at this point. I usually like try to pull things up a little earlier.
Right.
Easier to do during the winter than the summer, but yeah, I'm usually in bed by like 9:30, 10, and then I'm up at 4. I mean, and I've relieved myself of some of the pressure that I was putting on myself, like having to get up now. I usually don't even set an alarm.
Yeah.
But
especially if your body's like on an internal clock.
Yeah.
You know.
That time in the morning, like the first, no ifs or buts, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, I give myself as much time as I need. I just like have complete quiet, prayer, meditation, reading. That's like no ifs or buts. I have no phone around. I just literally write. I've done a lot of writing during that time. And then after that, I usually will work out. And then in that time, like the next hour is like the best work hour that I've got. So like when you're talking about like what strains of bacteria did you put in that, that's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
So you can't have a phone around when you're trying to figure that stuff out. It's like very overwhelming. So I leave the hardest work of the day for that time. And I work on it for an hour, 2, 3 hours, and then I'll probably like 9 a.m. kind of come to and turn on email and stuff. So yeah, I mean, like my friends joke that like at lunchtime they're like, "Okay, you ready for bed?"
Yeah.
You're
like, yes, kind of.
But I will say this, like even traveling as much as I do, I keep that same rhythm as much as I can on the road.
Yeah.
And it has been key. It has been absolutely key, because when you wake up in a hotel and when it's so easy to slip out and to be unproductive for weeks when you're gone. And I've just been like, no, that's my priority.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best, I would say, habit. I have a lot of bad habits. That's probably the best habit that I've got.
And I was reading, like I'm reading this book right now called The One Thing, and he was talking about how, you know, you have to do it until people say, like, you know, it takes 21 days to break a habit or form one, but it's more than that. Like it has to be a discipline, and then you know, eventually it becomes a habit, but it takes like 60 days to really like make a solid discipline of you doing the same thing every day. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different for every person, right? I mean, but I think it's more than 21. I think it's probably, I don't know what it is.
Or how long did it take you waking up at 4 a.m. every morning to like that became a
I mean, I kind of lucked out in that, like, my dad's a morning person.
Okay.
So, like, when I'm home, my dad and I are sitting at the table, like, reading together, drinking coffee at 5 a.m. Like, that's just kind of, like, our time. Yeah. That's when we hang. And so, I grew up with it a little bit in me. Okay. I've not always been a morning person, but I would say that, like, I learned competitively, like, that's when I'm going to run circles around people.
Right.
It's not going to be at 9 o'clock at night. It's going to be going the extra mile, which means that morning time. But yeah, it does take, I think the habits that I'm trying to form right now or break are taking a while.
Well, cheers, girl. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for coming on Landed. Make sure to go check out Nouri Life. It launches in March. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
And make sure, you are everything, girl.
No.
And make sure you subscribe to Landed Late Night. I have an episode that comes out each week at 8 p.m.
Can we do like the swipe up to subscribe?
Yeah, swipe up to subscribe. Except for it's on YouTube, but whatever.
Swipe up to subscribe.
It's like swipe up, link in bio. What else people say?
Unboxing next month.
Unboxing next month, yeah. Anyways, Landed Late Night, babies. I'll see y'all next